Wonder Woman is a gender-neutral, creative movement and tribe, and our purpose is to really just acknowledge and celebrate women doing really dope things and extraordinary things, from art and music to business to philanthropy, just all the women that are going out here and getting it, because, you know, I know that it's hard to be a woman. We go through so much, but we still keep it together. And so when you're doing these extraordinary things, sometimes we don't get the acknowledgement, and we just want to create these safe spaces where women are able to come together, celebrate each other, and just uplift each other and bring each other up. And we hope that you guys leave here today on a high note, and you guys can just go hard the rest of the week and continue making dope things happen, because definitely all of the panelists here are doing extraordinary things, but I know each of you are also doing extraordinary things. So we always do some sort of event, whether it's a showcase event, a panel discussion, a party, different types of events. But we also like to give back, because, you know, that's so important as well. We are also blessed. And so we tie in a charity aspect. And this time around, we are partnering with Iris House, and they are founded by women who have HIV, and they are also assisting women who are living, Black women who are living with HIV. And so they provide several different resources for them. So in the back, we're also collecting toiletries, non-perishable items, monetary donations. We also have the raffle going on too. We have Mika here, Miss New York. She's from Miss New York 2018. So you see her coming around with the raffle, you know, show her some love. We have some goodies for you guys as well. We have the open bar. Thank you to Tequila Avian for sponsoring that. So we just want you guys all to have a great time, and like, let's give back too, and like leave the night on a high note. Yeah.
Without further ado, I want to introduce the first portion of our program, Miss Tangina Stone.
What was it like growing up in your household?
Hi, that's a really good one, and I don't think anyone's ever asked me that outside of my therapist. But I am first generation American. My mom is Cape Verdean, my dad is Jamaican, and I grew up in East Flatbush, which means that all I knew was what I saw and what we had on TV that was not cable. Both of my parents are immigrant workers. My mom actually didn't have parents growing up. Her mom passed away when she was 7. She came here as a teenager. My dad, the same, came here as a teenager. And because my mother didn't really have like parental like love and coddling, she wasn't really good at like passing that down to us. So there's like a lot of tough love and, like, again, therapy recommended, work on your family things, and learn who your parents are, and that helps inform like how they raise you and how they parent you. But so a lot of that love and motherly affection came from my dad, which is amazing. I'm such a daddy's girl. Love my mom still, but she's just more of a tough love person. So it was a lot of and being accountable. There was no babying. There was no like soft love.
You're eating so many tender times.
And a lot of it was just like figuring out how to be accountable for yourself and for the other people around you. And it was also really like a fun house. My mom was like always throwing a lot of parties. It was entertaining, and that was helpful to have like a lot of family around at all times. And yeah, so existing between two cultures, like a different language, because my mom speaks Creole, so it's English is her second language, and like, you know, writing the rent checks because my mom couldn't really write in English yet, right. And doing all of that stuff, it definitely shaped like the attitude that I have now, and just like the figure shit out that I approach the world with. A lot of that was molded in the household, and yeah.
But I actually have a very similar story. I'm also first generation. Both of my parents are from Jamaica. Grew up in Miami. And my mom had me incredibly young. She was barely, you know, a teenager. And so it was a lot of growing up together and her sort of figuring it out in real time and me figuring it out, and very like strict parenting. I didn't get a lot of like tender love and care and all that stuff growing up. But I think now our relationship has blossomed so much, and it's like such a beautiful friendship, and we're close enough in age that it really has grown into like this incredible relationship. And I think one of the most important things for her was like making sure that I could stand on my own 2 feet, that I was resourceful, that I was a survivor first and foremost, that I could figure it out. And so I remember leaving and going away to college and her being like, you can't come back home. Like, you need to figure it out. And I never did. And I think that's...
the same mom?
From a very early age, like, I didn't really have like a fallback or a safety net. And so I think it sort of helped me, you know, figure out who I am today.
I grew up with both of my parents. My parents had a 21-year gap between them. My dad, I can't remember. He passed away at 80 years old, so they were 21 years apart. So I always, it was different. My mom in her late 40s decided that she wanted to chase her dream of being a singer because she wasn't able to do that at a young age because my grandfather in Cuba was very overprotective of her. He came from the music industry. He was a saxophone player, so he didn't want that life for my mom. So he didn't allow my mom to kind of flourish in that way, so I think she held a lot of that in. So in late 40s, I saw her developing a nonprofit organization, starting a band that plays Cuban traditional music in '97, and she turned it into a nonprofit in 2003. And to this day, she performs every month for senior citizens around Miami. Yeah, so she's because you're a child twice and an adult once in your life. You grow up to grow back down. So I think the senior citizen community is very neglected. She does these events for different community centers and senior citizen homes. But I learned now to appreciate my mother at an adult age, because when we were growing up, we were salt and vinegar is a good, but is it oil and vinegar? Oil and vinegar. Oh, we were the same, so we did not get along for most of my childhood. I became a crazy teenager, all boys and everything you can imagine, up and down. Got with someone very young when I was 15. Ended up moving in with him. It was a very volatile relationship. I thought my life was set when I was a teenager, and I think Latinos, I don't know, we're used to older men and we're used to getting with them at a young age. I don't know if that's a Latin thing, but definitely, but I felt with the chaos that I was growing up in when I was around 15 years old with him, he was senior, he was a decade older than me. I felt like that helped me, even if I didn't know it helped me at that time, because I was running around doing all kinds of craziness in the streets, So I graduated from an alternative school in Miami. So to come back to Miami and run a show and help change people's lives and employ people is a beautiful thing. It's a 360. And a lot happened, I had my entire family passed away, and it's only me, my mother, and my brother. So I'm saying all that to say a lot had to transition in my life. Me leaving Miami because I hit a ceiling in my life after my breakup with this older guy, trying to figure out my career. All that had to happen. I had to come here and for me to appreciate the woman that she was.
So I want to know in your career trajectories and what you guys have accomplished and where you are today, what is it that you say no to? What is it that you don't compromise? What is not up for negotiation?
With like my moral compass and drawing those boundaries very early on into any sort of like work relationship, whether it's like day one at the job or day one of like meeting a new artist or a manager. Like, yeah, I can hang and I can kick it, but like I'm not gonna put myself in compromising situations in an industry that is so social and the lines get blurred time and time again. I think it's been very important for me from the beginning to be like, yeah, that's not gonna happen here. So I think it's just, knowing my moral compass and stuff.
I will say that there was a time in my career where I was saying yes to everything, right? And then there's this idea of luck that's really, really dangerous, right? Like, so the idea that you're lucky to be here so you can't say no. So it's like, well, you're lucky to be in this room, and if I ask you to do something, you have to do it, because like, why else would you be here other than luck? And like, we really, really, really have to like reject that notion of luck. That is a tactic to like keep you, it's almost like a control thing to keep you grateful, and that doesn't work. And you'll never hear someone telling a man that you're lucky to be here in this position. But specifically women of color, you get into these rooms with big people with big money, and it's an idea of like, you're lucky to be here, right? Even if they don't say it overtly, and some people will. And so I remember being at a job, and there was like a group activity that we were doing, and one of the managers set up, and he said something about like, you're all so lucky to get to come here every day and do this. And in that moment, it snapped me, and I was like, no. I was saying no to this idea of like being lucky. I'm smart, I'm able, I'm capable, I'm bringing things to you too. So no, I'm not lucky to be here. So it's saying no to that idea of like general luck. And that takes away from your abilities and your talents and who you are and what you bring. So rejecting that has been a really important thing.
I'm gonna say one of the biggest shifts that I've seen or changes is probably just like the public embrace that Black culture is the most dominant culture. Like, I think that had always been the case. It has been. It's driven music for sure since eons ago and pop culture, but I think we're finally seeing it being profiled and being like televised and being really publicly spoken about from like white peers as well. And I think it puts us in a position where like we do have a seat at the table, and people are now looking to us as the experts of like, you know, in a way that wasn't happening before. Like now it's like the chairman's asking my opinion on like, is this culturally relevant? Does this make sense? Is this gonna resonate? And I think, you know, we have to sort of take ownership.
I think I've been super blessed because I've worked with a team of strong women. It was a powerful Black woman, Mona Scott Young, who ushered me in from music to television, and she employs only women. I think she probably only has one man in her company, and that's like her lawyer, and it's her family. You know, like, so her whole team, all of us that run the shows are minority women. So I think that's incredible to be surrounded by that, because Mona is very, you know, very respected in what she does. She's been in the music industry. She was able to transition and able to help the ones that needed to be brought to that world. But like you said, like, because I think it's happening now, like she mentioned a shift, but I think women were always just so trying to protect what they have, that although they may have wanted to help the next person, they got to make sure that they can feed their family and they're straight, so they couldn't, even if they may have wanted to. So I'm hoping that we get to a space, you know, where we can go back down and reach for our own. I mean, thankfully, with the little bit that I do, because I'm only a pebble in a volcano, you know, I have all my producers are women. They're minority women and one white girl, but she helps bring variety to the team. But she, you know, they're all women and one gay guy. But it's all variety. It's all variety. It's all, you know, it's all people that didn't have the
Black women are variety.
Yes, and but people that didn't have the opportunities back 10 years ago when we were just growing up in the game and trying to figure out our own shit. So the fact that we can, even the little bit that we can do and we can do, you know,